Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Solid Orange Conversation. Don Munson and golf coach Larry Penley along with you today. Larry, first and foremost, good to see you. I'm looking forward to actually shaking your hand here at some point in time and probably giving you a big hug when all this is said and done. But I take it that everything is good there in the Penley household.
Yeah, everybody's very safe. I mean, we've been very blessed. Our children are close. Our grandchildren are close. So we've been able to stay in contact with them and see them quite a bit. And the family time's been really nice.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Something tells me also you're probably getting a little more tech savvy now in trying to stay in contact with all of your players. Is that right?
This is the fourth time I have been on Zoom, and now it's a piece of cake. As I say that, my phone might go out at any minute.
Well, that's all right. Because one of the ways I know, because I've talked to some other coaches, is that obviously you all as head coaches are still meeting via Zoom, and probably it's good for you to hear what the other head coaches are going through as well, right?
Yeah, it's been kind of strange. We've been Coach Bird and Jordan and I have been in constant contact with our players. They all seem to be doing well. I actually have two of my players that are still in town that are living off campus. So we kind of talk regularly, and I haven't seen them, which is kind of weird. But I do get to see them when we do the Zoom. So we've got another one coming up on Thursday. We're going to meet with Corey Schaefer, who's our sports psychologist, and he's giving them great stuff to keep their minds sharp and some mind growth exercises that hopefully will help their games once we get to start back and compete.
Well, that's probably something that all of us need. Probably is a guy like Corey. Somebody that can maybe at times walk us back off the cliff and really make us realize that everything's going to be fine when all this is said and done.
No doubt. His game plans are great. We also use Milt Louder. Milt does the same thing. Milt's fantastic. Milt's kind of been actually working with the head coaches a little bit, and those have been some very interesting Zoom meetings. And I think we've got another one coming up Wednesday. So. Oh, that's a lot of fun.
No, I'm glad to hear that. So I guess let's also talk about the academic side of this, because obviously a lot of stuff going online, which means that, academic advisors from the area and the one that works with your guys. And I know that's something that you're very proud of, is the way that your kids just continually to perform in the classroom.
Yeah, we've stayed in constant contact with Leslie Moreland, who does our academics for our men's team and women's team. I think she's been busier since this has been going on than normal. It isn't like the guys can pop in her office. She's keeping her hand on the pulse. She's doing the very best job she can, trying to keep caught up with their internet processes for their academics. And I know it's a struggle for her. I think it was a struggle a little bit early for our players. I think the first week was kind of tough, getting into a routine, getting used to doing it. But I think they've settled down a little bit now, and we got our first progress report last week academically for the kids, and the guys seem to be doing very well.
Well, and not only that, but I guess, just from staying in shape, so what have you been doing with your guys, and what's been the plan of making sure that they're staying in shape? And I'm going to guess it's also pretty difficult to work on your game, although I guess some golf courses are still open.
I think a few golf courses are still open. Of course, the Walker course closed this past Friday, but, the guys have been working out. They have their own individual plans, which is part of our regular semester. They know what to do. We've had a couple guys being lucky enough I know Kyle Cottom, for example, his local high school opens it up for an hour a day just for him and his brother, who's a catcher in the Red Sox organization. So, that's kind of nice. And I know a lot of our guys have worked out similar situations like that, so they can kind of keep their bodies sharp and try to stay as ready as they can.
Well, and you go back and you think about at least the way that the spring was beginning to play out for your team. Obviously, the last tournament you played in was a big win for you down at the Palmetto Invitational in Aiken, and your team played extraordinarily well in that event.
I really felt like we did too. We played okay in Puerto Rico. I think Bridgman had a good week. Pettit had a good week. Things were kind of starting to gel, and you could kind of see it coming together. The field at the Palmetto Club was not very good at all. It was one of them tournaments where you're expected to go in and win, although Virginia does have a very solid ball club. But you really don't judge your play by the field. You judge your play by how well you play and how well you handle the golf course for that particular week. But we really did play well. I can count the number of times on one hand in my 37 years when we finished 1, 2, 3. And the play of those guys was outstanding. Jacob Bridgman just had a tremendous week. Turk Pettit had a great week. William Nottingham, shooting 65 the last day, had a great week. So I really felt good about how we were trending.
Well, and you all kind of set the tone the very first day. You come out and you shot a 13 under par, which was a new tournament record as a team. So I know for you as a head coach, and like you were talking about, hey, this is more about us than it is about other teams. And to see your squad come out and perform like that, you know, on the first day had to lift your spirits.
And that golf course is so good, Don. I mean, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to play it, but it's one of my top 3 favorites in the world. It was in fantastic shape. The green superintendent there is a past Clemson player and All-American, Mark Swigert. He had the golf course absolutely perfect. There are a lot of coaching opportunities on that golf course. You know, there's a lot of subtleties to it that really demand every part of your game and will show weaknesses. And that particular week, we didn't have many weaknesses. It was really fun to watch.
Well, and obviously, I think the final score for your team was 8-13, which I believe is the second lowest tournament score ever for Clemson golf, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think we had an opportunity to set several records that week, but we were making a lot of birdies. You know, the greens were so good. Get it online, it's going to go in. So that was really a fun week.
And you go back to the fall, obviously, you won the Jack Nicklaus Collegiate Invitational, and that is a match play. I believe, is that a match play event that is there? So a little bit of a different format there for your club.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun too. We had Ohio State in the first round, which is always tough getting those guys up there at Muirfield. They put up one heck of a fight, and we snuck it out at the end, playing 6 players, which was kind of interesting. I like playing 6 players. I think it's more to our advantage. Our depth through 6 guys right now is really good. And then we caught Duke in the finals, and it was a slugfest. I mean, the quality of play was really good. Both teams played very well. We just made 1 or 2 more putts than they did coming down the stretch and kind of squeaked out a victory.
Obviously, one of the unfortunate things for you with everything ending is that Clemson was set to host an NCAA regional this year, and so I know that's a blow to you and to the program, but hopefully it's something that's going to come back to us at some point in time.
Yeah, I hope so. The NCAA Golf Committee, or the NCAA in itself, still hasn't decided what they're going to do. You know, they were in a 3-year contract with Greyhawk out in Arizona for the NCAA finals. Are they going to continue those 3 years? If they do, they're going to have to add us as the first team to host next year. If they take one of those years away, then we'll fall back into the back of the line and hopefully get one by 2023 or 2024. So we don't know yet how it's going to play out. I think the NCAA Golf Committee is still trying to figure this out. And we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, and the other thing is, because you're the head of all the golf, both men's and women's, obviously on the women's side, they lose the Clemson Invitational that was going to take place at the Reserve up in Sunset. And the folks at the Reserve, man, they have been not only awesome to the girls, but also to you for the guys as well. What a great combination that has been between women's golf at Clemson and the Reserve up there in Sunset.
It really has been, and I think Kelly's put in a bid as well to host the NCAA women's at the Reserve regionals. You know, we can't thank those people enough. The staff at the Reserve does such a tremendous job for the women, and we still play up there quite a bit ourselves. But the work that the Cliffs Falls group had already put together, you know, we had over 100 volunteers for the NCAA regionals already set up. So, you know, all that was already in place. They continue to do a tremendous job. They're such great friends of our golf program here, and we're really looking forward to keeping that relationship strong.
Yeah, and I guess that's the other thing that we need to talk about, Larry, is that I don't know that everybody really understands what goes into hosting. Forget just hosting a tournament, but when you're hosting an NCAA regional, it's even something even different. All the preliminary work, all the man hours that had already gone into all of that, people had done a ton of work getting ready for this.
Well, the golf superintendent, Jim Evans, at the Falls, I'll give him a little plug. He's a Georgia grad, but he's a good boy. He does a great job with that golf course. This isn't an overnight prep. This is a year-long prep to get it ready for the for the NCAA regionals, and he has a lot of help from the USGA. It actually was kind of funny. We were on the golf course the Friday or the Thursday before they pulled us off, and I actually had an on-site visit with a USGA official that was going to help us conduct the regionals, and Jim first thing Monday morning at 8 o'clock. And we were going to kind of go over the golf course, look at the rough height. Let's see where we want to put the rough height. Let's look at some hole locations. Let's see how the green speeds are. And let's just see where the golf course is. Of course, we never got to have that meeting, but that's the kind of prep work that he has to do. Then you have all the volunteers. Like I said, Jim Brophy and Kathy O'Brien, they do such a fantastic job. They had over 100. They were turning down volunteers to help us run an NCAA regionals. It's hard to find that kind of support. And it's such a nice place. It's such a tremendous venue. It's such a great golf course. It's really a shame we're not going to be playing there in May, but hopefully we'll get back there real soon.
Yeah, hopefully we will, and hopefully you'll get back to a fall season as well. That we'll be playing a little bit of golf here in the fall. And I guess that the other thing with the recent announcement of what at least looks like major tournament golf is going to be doing on the PGA level, they've announced at least tentative dates now for the PGA, for the U.S. Open, for the Masters. We're going to lose the British Open this year, but at least I think that gives all of us in the golf community a little bit of hope for where that we're going to get this thing back and hopefully back on track soon.
Yeah, I hope they know more than we do about this virus, and they see it trending the other way now, and hopefully we're finding ways to beat it. And man, I love watching the old reruns on the Golf Channel. I have had more fun watching some of those old shell. I got to see one the other day. It was Byron Nelson and Gene Littler at Pine Valley. I had never seen that.
Wow,
it was fantastic. I mean, it was so good. They're hitting drives 245 and 250 yards. It was great old school golf at its best. But I've really enjoyed watching some of that. I'm sure Masters Week we're going to get to see the 86 Masters and live that again with Nicholas going down making all them birdies on the backside. That's a fantastic feeling as well. But this is Masters Week. We are living in Masters Week right now. And not having it at Augusta right now is kind of an eye-opening deal. It really makes you appreciate, our golf as it is when we have it. And it's, I certainly do miss it. I certainly do watching the live competition on TV. I certainly do miss our players competing and watching them compete, watching them get better. Man, this is a tremendous time of year for golfers. And to have all that taken away right now is, it's kind of humbling, but I am ready to get back into it. I think the PGA is wanting to get something started around mid-August and then have a couple of those tournaments in September. And then we've got the Masters, November 9 through 15. It's going to be interesting to see how they have that golf course in shape. We've been blessed to play there a time or two in December and even in January, and it's long. It's they're not able to get it as firm and fast as they usually do. You won't see them hitting the clubs into some of those holes that they normally do. The golf course is just going to be tremendously long. So I think a bomber will have a bigger advantage in November, but I'm sure the golf course will be perfect.
All right, let's look ahead a little bit at the fall, Larry. Who are you excited about? As you look at your team, who you're going to have coming back, and that. So, who are you kind of excited to kind of build things around?
I think we really have to start with our three seniors, the three guys that are juniors right now, but they will be seniors starting this fall, and that's Turk Pettit and Kyle Cottom and Colby Pack. You know, they've only been starters for 3 years, and they've done a fantastic job. The word's still out on whether or not senior William Nottingham will come back or be allowed to come back. I know he wants to. We haven't heard much still from the NCAA and from Clemson after they first made that initial comment about granting seniors the eligibility. So that's kind of put on hold right now. But whether he does come back or not, I'm really excited about who we do have coming back. And then our number one stroke average guy this week with 70.4 or something stroke average, and the winner of the Palmetto, Jacob Bridgman, will be a junior. He is a fantastic talent and a tremendous player. And when you throw in Zach Gordon, who's his classmate from Gaffney, we really are going to have 5 great players next year.
All right, so as a team, you finished 14th in one poll. You finished 21st in another and 22nd in another poll. But, you know, the way that they had to do this, normally it would be done after the NCAA tournament was done. But another top 15 finish for you. I mean, this is, you don't want to say that it's common or that it's, but it's something that you all with Clemson Golf have been able to attain regularly.
Yeah, it's really a disappointment for us, and I can see the disappointment in our players' eyes that we didn't get to finish this. I know how they've prepared. I know how their goals have been set, how their bars have been set. They were preparing to peak late this spring. I don't know if it was going to be at the ACC championship. This was going to be the first year that we were going to play match play at the ACCs. So we were going to play 36-18 and then take the top 4 and then have a match play, 2 days of match play to decide the champion. I don't know if you were going to see our best that week, but by the regionals and the finals, I think you were going to get our best golf. And that's kind of what we try to do. That's what we peak toward every year. And the guys were focused, and the guys were ready. Finishing tied for 8th last year and getting knocked out in that playoff to make the match play in the NCAA finals, that was still a burr under our saddle. And you could tell it by the way the guys prepared and practiced every day, and our best golf was coming. So we're going to have to find a way to carry that momentum and kind of carry that edge into the fall. And then hopefully we'll see some really great golf next year.
By the way, for folks that don't know, the top 25 finish for you was the 20, actually top 20 finish, was the 25th top 20 finish, which is more than any other Clemson sports in history as far as top 20 finishes. So congratulations on that. And obviously, I need to talk about, and we've talked a little bit about this between you and myself, wins number 78, wins number 79 for you personally as a head coach. You're just now 4 back of the golf legend Jesse Haddock, the longtime coach at Wake Forest. So you're kind of, you know what? You're within range now, Larry. It wasn't that you weren't, but now you're creeping closer and closer. Do you think about that?
No, I really don't. It just means I'm getting old. I really don't think about it. I mean, and I've said this before, talking to Plyler and talking to Tim Beret. They like to bring it up. But you know what? I could have scheduled 200 wins if I would have wanted to. You know, I get to set my own schedule. This isn't like basketball and football where the conference does it for me. You know, I could go play in the Woffords and the Furmans, and I could play in all those tournaments that we could win, and I could accumulate a whole lot of victories if that's what would make our program better, but it's not. You know, I've always been under the premise now for 37 years that to be the best, we're going to have to beat the best, and we're going to have to compete against the best. So I still try to you know, pick the best tournaments, find the hardest fields, the toughest venues that we can find all year. That makes our team better, and that gets us more prepared for ACC championships and NCAA championships, and that's what we're going to continue to do. I mean, if I wanted to go ahead and schedule 4 wins next year, I wouldn't have any problem doing that at all, but it's not going to help my team. So you know, it's great to talk about. Coach Haddock is still going to be the greatest coach in ACC golf history, regardless of what happens, and my hat's off to him, and he was a mentor to me. And he was a tremendous, tremendous golf coach and tremendous person. But we're just going to kind of keep trying to get better and, you know, put our best foot forward every week and see how many tournaments we can win.
All right, last question for you then is how do you go about setting up a schedule in the fall and the spring? Because some people may not realize some of these tournaments, because of where you finish on the national level, it gets you into some of the better tournaments. So how is all that going to take place?
Yeah, and it's kind of still up in the air right now. I think this is the latest we've ever gone into a season without not having our next year already set. We thought we were going to go back to Vegas. That Southern Highlands tournament, we used to go every year. We hadn't been since Kyle Stanley and Sam Saunders was here, so that was in 2009. So we felt like it was about time to go back there and take our 3 seniors back there, and they can handle that golf course. It's a big boy track, and it is a big-time field. We thought we were in, but at the last minute, we're not. So we're sitting here with 3 days of competition now that Coach Bird and I are really kind of scrambling to try to find us another 3-day event. Or as of right now, we haven't found one. But our schedule is going to be really good, and I'm really excited about it. The farm is no more. So for the first time in 32 years or 33 years, we won't be opening up in Dalton, Georgia.
How about that? I didn't realize that.
Yeah. It was kind of a shocker. I was really sad to see that because they do such an excellent job there. But the tournaments we do have scheduled are going to be first class, and it's really going to be tremendous. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, hey, all the best to you and the Penley family. Appreciate you taking some time out and doing this with us. And I guess I'll let you have last word. Maybe a little word of inspiration for those that are out there watching this.
Golf is coming back. We're going to get back out there soon, but we have to be diligent. We have to do what we're told. I'm a big outdoors guy, and I've been trying to get to Lowe's now for about a week. And every time I ride by Lowe's and there's 100 cars in the parking lot, I'm going, what are we doing? What are we doing? We can't have that. Not if we're going to get through this thing. We need to be playing football in the fall. We need to be playing golf in the fall. So let's go ahead and knock this thing out, and then we'll get on with the rest of our lives.
I like it. All right, there's our Solid Orange conversation.